Let's talk about Nikola Tesla. The man they say literally invented the 20th century. His brain is the reason we have the electrical grid that powers our lives right now. But here's the crazy part. When he died, he was totally alone, broke, and his entire life's work instantly seized by the US government. So you gotta ask, why? Well, they were hunting for something, a weapon of almost unimaginable power. So, yeah, let's dive right into the mystery of his final days. Now, this quote, this isn't from some sci-fi comic book. This is straight from a declassified FBI document. It's describing Tesla's Teleforce, a particle beam weapon he was convinced could end all war. He actually called it his peace ray. But the government, right in the middle of World War II, had another name for it, a death ray, and they wanted it badly. And that's really the question at the heart of this whole thing, isn't it? When federal agents swarmed his hotel room just moments after he was found dead, what were they really looking for? And what did they find? Let me tell you, the answer is way more surprising than any conspiracy theory you've heard. Okay, so to really get why the government was so desperate to find this thing, we have to go to where Tesla's story ends. And it wasn't in some futuristic lab, nope. It was in a quiet, lonely hotel room on a freezing cold January day. For the last 10 years of his life, this was home for Nikola Tesla. Not some giant mansion or a high-tech lab, but room 3327 on the 33rd floor of the New Yorker hotel. And it's right here that the story of one of history's greatest innovators just quietly fades out. I mean, just look at the contrast here. It's just wild. On one side, you've got this absolute genius, right? The guy whose AC system is the bedrock of our entire global power grid. A man who used to throw these huge dinners for celebrities like Mark Twain. And then, the reality. He ended up penniless, completely alone, living this reclusive life where his only friends were basically the pigeons he fed from his window. What a story. So the Do Not Disturb sign had been hanging on his door for 2 whole days. Nobody went in. Finally, on January 8th, a maid, Alice Monahan, she decided she had to go in. And inside, she found the 86-year-old inventor lifeless. The man who electrified the world had passed away, all by himself. The medical examiner's report was pretty straightforward. Coronary thrombosis, a blood clot in the heart, a simple natural death. But for a life as big as Tesla's, the simple medical fact was about to get buried under a mountain of government secrecy and decades of speculation. And hey, just a quick pause here. If you're getting into this story, please don't forget to subscribe, turn on those notifications, and share this explainer with someone who'd find it interesting. All the info we're using is compiled from open sources. Thanks a lot. All right, let's get back to it. So, here's where it gets really interesting. Within hours, literally hours of his body being found, the whole story takes a sharp turn. The quiet death of this reclusive inventor suddenly becomes a matter of urgent national security. Look at how fast this all happened. The response was immediate. The FBI was called in, and agents from this obscure little office were sent to grab everything. Every single note, every blueprint, every half-baked idea. 80 trunks, you guys. 80 trunks filled with the life's work of a genius were just impounded. The legal excuse they used? The Office of Alien Property Custodian. Now, this was an agency specifically created to seize the property of America's enemies during wartime. The whole point was to make sure nothing of military value fell into the wrong hands. Which kind of brings up a pretty big question. And here it is, the huge irony at the center of all this. Nikola Tesla wasn't an enemy alien. He was a proud American citizen, and he had been for more than 50 years. Yet the moment he died, his life's work was treated like it belonged to an enemy of the United States. It's unbelievable. Okay, so now the government has 80 trunks of potentially world-changing research. They needed an expert, somebody who could actually make sense of it all. They needed someone who could tell the difference between groundbreaking science and, well, science fiction. And the guy they called was one of the very best. So they brought in a heavy hitter, Dr. John G. Trump. Yep, that Trump family. He was a celebrated professor and engineer from MIT, famous for his work in high-voltage engineering. He was the man the government trusted to peer into the mind of a genius and figure out if this legendary death ray was for real. Well, after 3 days of digging through everything, Dr. Trump gave his verdict. And his official report basically said, move along, nothing to see here. He called Tesla's later ideas fascinating, sure, but ultimately more philosophical and speculative, with no real path to a working device. So the immediate threat was gone. But one little mystery was still left. Because you see, amongst all those papers and all those trunks, there was one particular object everyone was buzzing about. A single wooden chest that was rumored to hold not just the plans, but a working prototype of Tesla's most feared invention. This was it, the moment of truth. The government finally had the box they thought held the secret to the Teleforce weapon. What were they going to find inside? A weapon that could change the war? The key to a whole new world of defense? The suspense must have been incredible. And this is the twist at the heart of the whole mystery. Maybe the biggest anticlimax ever. What Dr. Trump found inside that top-secret chest wasn't a death ray. It was a Wheatstone bridge, just a standard, old-school piece of lab equipment used for measuring electrical resistance. The ultimate superweapon, the thing that could end all wars, turned out to be a common toolkit from the 1800s. You just can't make this stuff up. So if the death ray was just a myth, and he spent his last years pretty much forgotten, what is the real legacy of Nikola Tesla? Well, you won't find it in the weapon he didn't build, but in the world that he absolutely did. But the mystery doesn't quite end there. See, of the 80 trunks the government seized, only 60 were ever sent to the Tesla Museum in Belgrade. So what happened to the other 20? To this day, nobody knows, which just keeps fueling all the speculation about what else Tesla might have been working on. But his real legacy? That's not a mystery at all. It's the alternating current powering your house right now. It's the science behind radio and remote control, the Tesla coil, early X-ray imaging. I mean, the very foundations of our modern connected electric world. That is his real, undeniable legacy. You know, I think New York's mayor at the time, Fiorello LaGuardia, said it perfectly in his radio eulogy just a few days after Tesla died. He said that Tesla wasn't really dead because his work, his fame, they're immortal. And he was absolutely right. And that kind of leaves us with a final question to chew on. How do you really measure a genius like Tesla? Is it about the spectacular, world-ending weapons he dreamed up but never actually built? Or is it about the quiet, fundamental, practical inventions that we now literally cannot imagine our lives without? It's something to think about.